Have you found yourself turning the TV volume up a little more each year? Or smiling and nodding through family dinners? Because you could not quite follow the conversation when several people spoke at once. My uncle showed exactly these signs for years, and everyone just assumed it was normal aging, nothing to worry about. But recently I looked into research connecting hearing loss and dementia, and found the link is far stronger than most people realize, along with a genuinely specific way to reduce that risk. Today I will walk you through why hearing loss raises dementia risk, and exactly how much difference a hearing aid can make, based on real research. So let us get into the numbers. Here is why this deserves real attention. Hearing loss is far more common than most people assume. Medical sources report that roughly 1/3 of 65-year-olds and about half of 70-year-olds experience some degree of hearing loss, with that figure exceeding 60% among those over 80. The problem is that this common condition is not just about hearing difficulty. It is closely tied to brain health, repeatedly confirmed across multiple studies. Dismissing it as normal, aging and delaying hearing aids could mean cognitive costs, quietly accumulating over time, though starting to address it now is never too late. So exactly how much does hearing loss raise dementia risk? Here are the specific numbers. A review combining multiple studies found hearing loss associated with up to a 94% higher risk of developing dementia, with risk increasing alongside severity. One study specifically found mild hearing loss doubled dementia risk, moderate loss tripled it, and severe hearing loss increased risk roughly fivefold. A major 2024 update to an international dementia prevention report identified hearing loss as one of 14 modifiable lifestyle factors, estimating that fully addressing all 14 factors could prevent or delay up to 45% of dementia cases worldwide, with hearing loss treated as one of the most significant among them. Here is something you are probably wondering. Why exactly does poor hearing connect to brain health this strongly? Research points to 3 mechanisms. First, cognitive load. When sound is not clearly heard, the brain works overtime trying to fill in the missing information, diverting resources that would otherwise go toward memory and thinking, gradually straining cognitive function over time. Second, social isolation. Difficulty hearing makes participating in conversation harder, naturally leading people to withdraw from social situations and, as covered previously, isolation itself is linked to cognitive decline. Third, physical brain changes. When auditory brain regions receive insufficient stimulation, they can gradually shrink over time, potentially affecting connections to other regions responsible for memory and thought. Now for the most encouraging part. If hearing loss carries this much risk, can properly managing it actually reduce that risk? Here is a genuinely remarkable finding. A major U.S. clinical trial gave hearing aids to older adults at high dementia risk and found cognitive decline slowed by nearly half over a 3-year observation period. Another large cohort study found that people who developed hearing loss before age 70 and used hearing aids had roughly 61% lower dementia risk over 20 years, compared to those who did not use hearing aids. Research involving Johns Hopkins researchers similarly found meaningfully improved dementia-related outcomes among consistent hearing aid users, compared to those who left hearing loss untreated, with researchers estimating that a meaningful share of dementia cases worldwide could potentially be prevented through proper hearing management. Here is an important tip. What all this research consistently emphasizes is that hearing loss itself is not the real problem. The time spent ignoring it is. The longer hearing loss goes untreated, the longer the brain goes without adequate sound stimulation, and this may allow the negative changes described earlier to accumulate. So responding as quickly as possible matters enormously. So what should you actually do? First, if you have recently turned up the TV volume, or struggled to follow group conversations, do not brush it off. Get a hearing test. Professional guidelines recommend testing once a decade between ages 20 and 50. Then every 3 years after 60. Second, if hearing loss is confirmed, consider a hearing aid without hesitation. Many people feel embarrassed wearing one, but reframe this as a genuine investment in brain health, rather than something to hide. Third, watching a speaker's mouth while they talk genuinely helps comprehension. So try facing conversation partners directly. Fourth, reduce background noise in loud environments. Turning off the TV or radio during conversations makes communication significantly easier. For a simple weekly plan, reflect on recent hearing changes on day 1, such as TV volume or phone call difficulty. Ask family members for their honest observations on day 2, research local hearing test options on day 3, schedule an actual appointment on day 4, practice facing conversation partners directly on day 5. Try reducing background noise during conversations on day 6. And review your progress on day 7. Pursuing a hearing aid consultation if testing confirms loss. One thing worth remembering: managing hearing alone will not completely prevent dementia. Dementia involves genetics, cardiovascular health, sleep, and social engagement together. And hearing management is simply one meaningfully controllable piece. If memory concerns already exist, please see a neurologist or memory clinic separately from any hearing evaluation. Why not start today by simply checking your TV volume? If this helped, please subscribe and share it with someone whose hearing you have quietly wondered about.